to see Ukaizo in this way. It may be hard to picture, but this city was once full of life. The Huana, yes, but also kith from many other cultures. Great hanging trees shadowed these boulevards. Gardens sprawled across the open rooftops. Each spring, a festival procession would wind its way from the hillside into this valley. The celebrants would pass through a steep walk among the stalls of foreign merchants, flowers falling upon them from all sides. All people of all nations, together in a celebration of new life. Such was the power and beauty of lost Ukaizo.
This isn't right. You can't put this burden on us. You can't make the gods' problems, our responsibility to fix. How can you have faith that what you're doing is good? You know how many people are going to suffer because of this. No matter how you spin this, you can't set it straight.
Eder, I wish I could explain it to you. It breaks my heart that I cannot. But no matter how much you curse me, do not despair. The souls of this world will need people like you. Lights burning brightly in the darkness to come.
Gone, please, I'm begging you. What do I do following this? How am I to best serve those still living, to improve our future chances of survival?
The Deadfire and the Eastern Reach are full of animancers, women and men with brilliant minds who can solve this great problem. They will also need people with brilliant souls, like you, Xoti. People who can tend to the spiritual needs of the world in a time of fear and desperation. Remember, the flame you bear is not only light, but warmth. Provide comfort to all who need it.
I ain't never chatted up a god before. Feel like I should be asking something profound and philosophical. And yet, thing I'd be wanting to know, what be stopping the other gods from coming down and just setting this shit back straight? And then you breaking it again. This be our new tides, then, all up and down, over and over, till the sea drowns us all?
A wise question, Serafen. Have no doubt, some of the gods are already trying to figure out a way to fix this on their own. It is not beyond their capabilities. After all, we made these machines with the Huana many years ago. But it is not something they can do easily. Not without mortal assistance. It will be for mortals to decide if they should receive it.
What right do you have to do this? Destroy the wheel and leave us with nothing? Without even knowing what will come next?
Aloth, we are all, gods and mortals, responsible for our own actions. But inaction carries its own moral responsibility. It is a burden I have carried for far too long. One must always do as their conscience dictates, even if that means abdicating a position of power. But what of you, Watcher? Why have you followed me? Have you come to bear witness to the breaking of the wheel? Mortals are already inspired. It is what has pushed them on for hundreds of generations to reach this point in time. Animancy is poised to go far beyond what we Engwithans ever discovered. Why does Helia think I should lend more power to mortals? I see your point. Perhaps it was naive of me to think that mortals could immediately set about to fixing the wheel in the midst of such chaos. From where should mortals draw their inspiration? Very well, Watcher. I will ensure that mortals are inspired by my passing, that my power not be expended in vain. Indulge me in a moment's curiosity. There is something I wish to know about Eora, about Kith, that I can only learn through your eyes. You followed me all this way, dodging an armada, navigating an impenetrable wall of storms, voyaging across uncharted seas, besting a guardian who existed to bar your trespass, with the machinations of gods echoing in your ears. And you did so on your own. That is no small achievement. Kith across Eora will hear the tale of it and look to you with awe. I believe that mortals possess the strength to collaborate and shape a future of their own design. Not all of my brothers and sisters agree. I had hoped your actions would set an example for the future, demonstrating the resilience and ingenuity of mortals when they work together. Coming to Okaizo unencumbered by alliances proves a different point than the one I intended, but it is a valuable one all the same. What inspired your decision, Watcher? Did the choice echo your foundational beliefs? Or were you influenced by observation? I thank you for your perspective. Yours is not the only opinion that concerns me, but for the moment, it offers much to consider. All I ever wanted for mortals was growth, transformation. Once, my brothers and sisters shared this goal. Some have forgotten themselves, giving into fatalism or tyranny. Others have succumbed to apathy. It brings me great sorrow that crisis is the only way to set the future in motion. Would that I could pass the responsibility of heralding your darkest hour to another. You shirked the aid of others and came this far alone. But I think you'll find that the future is built on trust, cooperation, and understanding among Kith. Ask. You are entitled to any answer that is mine to give. I apologize, Watcher. There is nothing I can do to restore the glory of your hard-won and poorly situated estate. What happened to Cadnua was not personal in nature. I would have occupied the statue even if it was buried beneath Defiance Bay. Given your perseverance, I know that a second home cannot be distant in your future. You have only to seek it out. The great work of the Ingwithans falls to ruin. Reincarnation as we know it will end. Souls which currently await new life in the beyond will be born into the world as normal, but their numbers will not replenish. Anything that dies will tarry in the void of the in-between, awaiting the motion of a wheel that no longer turns. Once the beyond has emptied, every birth will be hollow-born. Other maladies of the soul may follow and plague those who linger in life. Unless mortals work together to carve a new path, the essence of life will be trapped in the netherworld. Gods will starve. Eora will grow silent and cold. When we tamed the cycle of reincarnation, we broke what had once functioned naturally and without intervention. The flow of essence will not normalize on its own. Essence will simply pool in the void of the in-between, never passing through Adra networks to the beyond. The dead will be left to wander in darkness, confusion, and sorrow. A generation or more. That much essence is already poised to flow into Eora. But unlike an hourglass, no amount of turning will compel the sand to reverse its course. Should you choose, you could lay down your burden and trust in your children's children to set matters right. That depends entirely on you. By your reckoning, there are still good years to come. By ours, time is short. No one is worthy of unconditional trust. If you feel the gods are beyond forgiveness, then they don't deserve your obedience. Make your future one that doesn't require them. Should you choose to accept the gods, I hope that you temper your faith with skepticism. Yes, they must work toward a solution or perish. If that task is beyond their skill, then they no longer deserve their position. I would have them justify their right to lead. That could mean swallowing their pride and hearkening to the wisdom of mortals. Some, I expect, will perform better than others. Boudica is entitled to her opinion. If the intent of this test is to justify an uprising to come, that is more worrisome. The other gods must decide for themselves if mortals are ready to dictate their future. Should Boudica's tyranny prove the only alternative, mortals must prepare for a terrible conflict. Your perspective bridges eternity, Watcher. Many will look to you to mediate differences that could shake the very foundations of Eora. For several reasons. My strength was diminished after the Godhammer bomb, and assuming this form took incredible effort. With so many vying for control of the Deadfire, I also saw a ripe opportunity for mortals to cast aside their differences and stand together as one. They have never been more powerful, more capable. Because of this, the gods must justify their importance or be proven obsolete. I must attend to my final work now. I cannot delay any longer. You have carried a heavy burden across the Deadfire, Watcher. Before I go, I would rid you of it. You are free now, as free as any of us can be. Many will come to you for help in the years ahead. Animancers, priests, even the gods themselves. I have great hope for you, but always remember that your future is for you to decide. Use your freedom well.
Eothas squares himself to the machine. As you move to a safe distance, he draws his fists back and resumes his assault. The blows rain down with increased fervor, but the machine perseveres in spite of his efforts. Spreading his arms wide, Eothas draws power from the luminous Audra clustered around the valley. The energy courses through his body, limbs overflowing with intense light and waves of heat. He returns to his task, each strike bringing with it the sound of cracking stone and twisting metal, the flickering of luminous Audra across Ukaizo. As the ancient machine finally begins to succumb to his strength, so too does Eothas's body, built to withstand the passage of thousands of years. The great Audra statue has finally been pushed beyond its limits. Cracks appear along the hands, then race up the arms. Eothas does not slow his assault, but continues unabated. Its brass rings twisted, the machine spins erratically but withstands the relentless barrage. Eothas stands astride it and pummels the base of the machine. Soul energy begins to flare out from the machine's heart, warping the air with the intense heat. Eothas drives his right fist into the machine's center, the core of metal and Audra. The god lets out a deafening shout, something between a cry of anguish and a roar of exultation. You see Eothas's arm shatter upward from his hand through his elbow. A flash of light and heat bursts from the core, accompanied by a cacophony of destruction. The moment passes. As Eothas's shout echoes throughout the valley, your eyes begin to recover. The god's work is accomplished. The great machine of Ukaizo has been destroyed. The wheel has been unmade. As Eothas's voice fades, the enormity of what you've accomplished sinks in. You have confronted a god. You have rediscovered the ancient city where the wheel was forged, and you have seen the wheel shattered. What comes next is uncertain, but already the legend spreads of the Watcher who survived Andra's mortar and stood toe-to-toe with Eothas. On your recommendation, Eothas disperses his essence and that of the thousands of souls within him to centers of knowledge and learning around the world. Animancers, engineers, wizards, and scholars of all stripes make astounding breakthroughs in understanding and harnessing the phenomena that govern Eora. While some of these developments prove beneficial to Kith, others are decidedly less so. But such is the price of innovation. What remains to be seen is how, indeed whether, they will restore the cycle Eothas has broken. In reaching Ukaizo and facing Eothas, you have accomplished the impossible. And you have done it without the assistance of the great powers of Deadfire. Your feats capture the awe and imagination of a world that needs heroes more than ever. Some say your intervention prevented Eothas from a far worse act of destruction. Many believe you will be the salvation of Eora. With each day, your legend grows, as does the chaos in Deadfire. Ukaizo remains unclaimed, and the Efekia Channel becomes the site of a near-constant battle as the Huana and the Rauataians vie for control of the unprotected island. The Rauataians rely on their cannons, and the Huana call forth massive waves and beasts of the deep to sink their foes. And while they chip away at one another, the Valians and the Principi pursue their own ends with increasing abandon. Emboldened by their rivals' distraction, the Valian Trading Company seizes territory and mines luminous Audra at a startling pace. Huana villages are left at the mercy of unscrupulous speculators, and resource-rich islands are swarmed and stripped. To support their operations, the Valian Trading Company begins shipping ever greater quantities of supplies and luminous Audra to and from the archipelago. This attracts the attention of the Principi, who target these ships with increasing aggression. The promise of fat prizes draws even more pirates to their ranks. The Rauataians, as well as the Huana, are too busy to stop them. Despite other tensions across the archipelago, Port Maje remains a model of peaceful, productive cooperation between the Huana and the Valian Trading Company. Though they do not always agree, Governor Clario and Storm Speaker Ikawa work together for the mutual benefit of their people. As the balance of power changes in Deadfire, so too does Nekataka transform. With the major powers at one another's throats, Nekataka becomes a maelstrom of chaos. Spies and smugglers follow the flow of refugees into the city, where violence is commonplace. Ukaizo remains the coveted prize, and Nekataka fades into an afterthought. The Kahanga leadership takes responsibility for the welfare of the Raparu, and the Gullet starts to improve. What was once a den of crime, poverty, and illness slowly becomes a quiet haven for the Raparu. The loss of Skiariliphus's essence weakens the Water Shapers Guild. Their power wanes and their influence fades. The art of water shaping survives as an arcane curiosity. Your brief encounter with Letharn proves deeply influential for the children of the Dawnstars. Plagued with nightmares and haunted by the deaths at Hesango, Letharn begins questioning his faith in Eothas. At first, his fellow Dawnstars chide him. But that changes as word of Eothas's deeds at Ukaizo spreads. After all, what business have they worshipping a god who denied his own legitimacy? The faith of the children of the Dawnstars fades, but their commitment to the people of Deadfire does not. They continue feeding, healing, and helping the neediest, just as they have for decades. It is no longer a holy mission, but it is a mission all the same. With the Adra at Pokakohara destroyed, and hopes of a Valian outpost dashed, the tribes resolve to leave Tikawara behind. Small and mobile, they move amongst the Kuaorakuhu Islands, where they escape the notice of larger powers. The dragon, Neraskirlas, no longer passes between Eora and the White Void, and the dead flow slowly breaks apart, exposing the temple long frozen within. Vatnir tries to hold the Harbingers of Dusk together, and for a time succeeds. The group resettles within and around the temple, vowing to protect it. Eventually, however, Remergon's godlike falters, and his followers sacrifice him to the White Void. The Temple of Remergon falls into disrepair, home only to madmen and monsters. In besting the Beast of Winter, you earned the Death God's mercy rather than his enmity. The deity remains characteristically unforthcoming about his decision, and you're left to wonder whether in doing battle with him in the White Void, you somehow furthered his apocalyptic ambitions. Once repaired, the Adra at the primal island of Kazuwari again pulses with the flow of soul essence between the here and the beyond. The feral life on the island flourishes, the jungles and veld growing ever wilder and resistant to settlement and exploration alike. The faces of the hunt continue to rule the Crucible and Galawain's, or rather, Tawamawai's name. The trials summoned by the statue grow deadlier with each season, until only those rare few willing to brave the gravest of dangers seek out the bloody ordeals of Kazuwari. Like the other souls following in your wake, Muatu eventually yearns to move on to the beyond and the wheel. Stymied by Eothas's actions, however, he settles on returning to Kazuwari, where he joins the choir of souls that echo throughout the Crucible. Encouraged by her arcane successes, Bakarna returns to her observatory to continue her studies of the celestial spheres. In time, her colleagues in the Circle of Archmagi come to accept her among their number. She takes on apprentices, and they trumpet her praises as both a brilliant innovator and nurturing pedagogue. Slain by your hand, the Titan of Wal poses little further threat to Eora. As the corpse decays, it putrefies into a massive nest of hungry fungal monstrosities. Vessels that anchor off the shores of the Black Isles tend to go missing, only to turn up shipwrecked months or even years later against distant shores. With time, the body collapses upon itself, and the Black Isles finally implode. Though your adventures alter the destiny of Eora and the balance of power in Deadfire, they also leave a lasting mark on those who travel at your side. Your companions find themselves changed, in ways both big and small. Eder returns to Hisango, where he reunites with Byrne, the son of his former lover, Alava. The boy takes heart in Eder's account that Eothas and all the other gods were false, petty, and unworthy of the love of Kith. Realizing how close he came to dying for this cause, Byrne finds renewed purpose in working alongside his uncle to repair the many scars left upon Deadfire by the gods. Under Eder's guidance, Byrne grows into the kind of irreverent, stubborn hothead that would have made his mother proud, and Eder visits her gravesite, often to tell her so. Xoti is not a priestess who understands the meaning of subtlety. As such, she makes her girlish crush on Eder painfully obvious from the moment she first sets eyes on the strapping fighter. Early in your travels, Eder appears discomforted by her persistent flirting. He often grimaces when she sidles up to him, and he takes endless pains to keep their conversations terse and to the point. But after a little smoothing on your part to nudge them in the right direction, Eder makes an effort to view Xoti with an open mind. And Xoti begins teasing the veteran fighter in a more companionable and less amorous manner. After saving each other's hides a couple times and sharing more than a few laughs, the two form an easy, and you suspect, lifelong friendship. Seemingly lit with an inner glow, Xoti takes to a new life of mission work with gusto. She still is committed to shepherding souls forgone, but having realigned her goals with that of her fellow Dawn Stars, she now endeavors to help the living as much as the dead. As you travel the Deadfire, you find her sleeping better and laughing more often. When the time comes for her to return to her temple in Neketaka, it's with a clear wistfulness and much lip-biting on her part. She leaves you with her sickle and a hastily scrawled note. It reads, "A keepsake from a path once walked. Remember me, Watcher, for I will forever dream of you." If Aloth has learned one thing from your adventures, it is that the forces shaping the world are vaster and more complex than he had ever imagined, and they are far beyond anyone's power to control. Thus, it is with great relief that he abandons his labors against the Leaden Key. Without Theus at the helm, it will crumble in its own time. The best he can do is stand back and allow it to happen. Happily, his decision allows him to journey alongside the Watcher he has come to love. He does not know what the future holds for them, or, indeed, for the world. Whatever it is, they shall face it as they have faced all their greatest trials, together. You let Rimaro go, and the former pirate ostensibly set sail for the trade lanes of the Eastern Reach, the Edir Empire, Old Valia, and the Republics. For the remainder of your time together, Serafen seems, if not exactly happy, at least contented with the outcome of your confrontation with his former mentor at Sayuka. And yet, when the two of you part, Serafen seems emboldened, invigorated by a new sense of purpose. He buys you a drink, toasts to the Deadfire, says, "Let's see if we can make something worth a shit out of what's left of these Principe swabs," and sets sail the next morning. In the years to follow, rumors occasionally reach you of the Blue Orlan pirate of the Deadfire, a privateer captain as keen to free slaves or fight for an influence as he is to plunder and pillage. The Valian Trading Company is initially furious when they learn that Pallegina had assisted the Watcher in claiming Ukaizo. In the chaotic aftermath, the company takes a more nuanced view of Pallegina's actions. The turmoil in the region allows the well-organized company to seize a number of valuable assets from their competitors. Though Pallegina is not rewarded for her actions, nor is she punished, the Dukes and Songreta agree to forget her support of the Watcher. She is quietly reassigned to duty in the Valian Republics, an order she gladly obeys. Time away from the Navy gives Maya Rua some perspective on how Rawatai conducted the Deadfire occupation. No sooner does she return to active duty than she voices her frustrations over some of the more underhanded tactics she witnessed and carried out in the name of the homeland. Her voice carries all the way to the Ranganui, who reminds his admirals that battles are won by superior tactics, but war is a battle of precedent, and winning is not always a victory. The people listen. She looks forward to seeing her brother again. So does Ashiza. Takehu distances himself from the problems of the Deadfire, giving the tribes a reprieve from godlike omens. And Gati's silence speaks volumes. The Huana grow to rely on each other, paving a new way forward divorced from their traditions. Soon after he departs Nekataka, distant tribes report of unusual and salacious water sculptures appearing on the shores. These quaint visitations are widely celebrated, the identity of the artist ever an open question. He bids you farewell, suggesting that you seek your next adventure in a brothel or tavern, where consequences begin and end at the front door. He sounds eager to leave old conflicts in the past. Your pursuit of Eothas and your journey to Ukaizo signal the end of forces that have shaped the lives of Kith and the course of nations. The cycle of reincarnation has been broken. The storms of Andra's mortar have calmed. Yet each ending promises a new beginning. As the sun rises over Ukaizo, Kith turn their gaze eastward, wondering at what lies beyond, and at the world they will fashion for themselves. As the Watcher of Cadnua and the former Herald of Bareth, you return to your ship and begin the long journey home. You hope for calm weather.